and then that way we can send it out if we need to. The idea is that we have a lot more of these trainings, or like just talking about the organization and how we're working, and record them and post them on like a YouTube channel or YouTube series, so that when people join the organization as an ambassador, as a board member, whatever it is, there's some kind of video for it. And that way they can just go through the modules before they become an ambassador, or they go through the modules before they become a board member, and it'll kind of make it easier to catch people up, because it's going to get harder and harder to bring people on and then start from, well, this is what we've done and this is what we're doing. So it'll save us a lot of time. But the communications committee was just created a couple of weeks ago, and there's a lot of good stuff around it. So I'll kind of introduce the team on who was selected for the communications committee. So Michelle Ochoa, she's a board member, and she was she just got elected as a board member this month, and she will be in charge of communications to vendors, because obviously she's the creator of the vendors app, and that's how like the Cinco de Mayo event. She's kind of the ones that, with her and Julia, have been reaching out to vendors, but it'll help promote her app as well. And then we have Trinidad Aguirre, who has a podcast every Tuesday on marketing strategies or marketing tips to help reach a Hispanic audience. But he's also doing our podcast for the chamber, and he's the host for that. So we bring in a person that is savvy or on a certain area that we feel a business owner really needs. So we have planned for later episodes, we have resources from the city, talking about why it's good to get accredited. We'll have merchant services, like how to receive payment, credit cards, and so we'll have a lot of stuff around that. And then we have Juan Ponce de Leon, who has he has a software that'll help manage your business by assigning tasks or sending messages. I think with his software now, you can now create bids. So if you had a certain project and you wanted a group of people to bid for it, you can. But he's been doing our emails for the past couple of months, so we'll probably have a training on how to put those emails together. And then Chris Rocha has been our website guy, and he sponsored the website about a year ago. So he'll be doing updates to this year. He'll be doing the year's updates, and he'll be in charge of that. And then you have myself. I'll just make sure that we have some kind of progress going on in the next couple of months, and that we continue to get better. And then I'll settle the chair. And then Jonathan Menkinvar Lopez, he is the owner of Undaunted, and he's his media company specialized. Well, they do a lot of stuff, but you guys really should check out his videos. He did recently a video about Wix and why people should use Wix. And they had that video sent out via text to all of the people that were, I think, either enrolled into the program or could be enrolled into the program. So he does a lot of he has a whole production team for videos. So he'll have a sound engineer, he'll have the director. I mean, it's the whole works. So he's actually the one that sponsored the podcast where Trinidad is going to be the hosting. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks, probably around some marketing stuff for sponsors, for members, and for probably all of our committees. So there's a couple of, any questions on this part? All right, we're good. So the reason we're kind of putting this committee together is because we have to plan for growth, and it gets complicated when you have a lot of different committees, then you have members, and then you have people that potentially will become members, and they're probably reading our newsletters. And then you have new board members, you know, if someone decides to leave a board member seat. So you have to figure out, how do you create consistency around all of your communications? It's not just social media, like it has to be everything. It has to have a similar approach, because if you have a similar approach, let's say a new member comes in and they say, oh, well, I heard that you guys did a Cinco de Mayo. And so somewhere we have to make it easy for them to see, well, what happened in 2019, and what happened in 2021, I'm sorry, and what happened in 2022, and what can I expect in 2023? Or somebody comes in because of a mentorship program, and the same thing, they have to know where to go, and the website has to match what social media is saying, and social media has to match with maybe some of our internal documents that we're saving on Boardable. So it kind of reduces confusion when you have consistency throughout all of them. And it takes time to create that consistency, but I think every time we move forward and we have a new change, then you have to have a plan for it and say, okay, we have this new change. How do we communicate to ambassadors? How do we communicate to members? How do we communicate before we just post it out? But more to come on that. Any questions on this slide? All right. And then when we make a post, so there's something that, and this is something that I got from Jonathan on how we can post the material. What's very effective on social media, and it looks like it's effective on other platforms too, is if you make the messaging pretty quick. So you have the action. So you say, and it could be, usually it's a verb. So it might say like, and if it's a Cinco de Mayo post, join us on Cinco de Mayo for, then you talk about the value. For a family event with entertainment for the kids, music, all of those benefits. And then a very simple next step, you know, get your ticket on this link below. And then if they get their ticket, it's simple, you know, thank you for purchasing this ticket. This will help out the business owners in your local business owners. Please share the message with other business or with other people interested, so we can help spread the word. And it's something pretty simple, but it's pretty effective, because in social media, it seems like a lot of people don't have a lot of time, or they're just scrolling through things that are just going to capture their attention really quick. So it's pretty easy. Any questions on this? Pretty simple so far. You guys are quiet.
Pretty simple.
All right. So then you have different types of messaging, different types of posts, because we're going to have to get 3 audiences. You know, you have the people who potentially could be members. And then we're going to have to target strategic partners. And I'll eventually show you guys on some of the things that we can say for that. But strategic partners could be sponsors, you know, people that want to access the Hispanic market, or people that have a resource that can help us out. So an example is like True Fund. They're a nonprofit organization. They're going to be at the event on the 28th, and they're going to talk about business funding, or business funding for minority business owners and women entrepreneurs. and they are accredited by the SEC, so it's a federal thing, and it might be a really good route for a lot of our business owners to take instead of taking out loans from a private, institution. But those would be considered like strategic partners that'll. Oh, and they have a bunch of different classes too around how to around SEO, building website. I think they have some on like bookkeeping. So a lot of different stuff where they can help out a business owner. So they would be good strategic partners. And then you would have volunteers, because and really our volunteers come from our ambassadors, but there may be people that just want to volunteer for one specific event, because that event might be, walk walk for cancer or something like that, or it might be a specific cause that gets to them. So there might be or the Cinco de Mayo, we will need a lot of volunteers. So if you guys know of any, or this month we'll probably be looking to target a few, but usually these are going to be our 3 audiences that we're trying to get. And then we go into our branding looks. So how do we create the messaging? And I think Sarah Belmonte made this branding kit for us a while back, but I'm just kind of revisiting that, and just making sure that our messaging, or at least the images, kind of stay a little consistent, with the exception of holidays and special events, like I would say like the Cinco de Mayo, or if we have like a gala at the end of the year, because those are themed, so we want to stick to the theme as well. But if it's anything like educational, if it's like the Follow Me Fridays, or the Follow Me Fridays on IG, or Tuesdays on LinkedIn, it's good to kind of stick with the consistent colors. So if you're using like 2 colors throughout the whole thing, blue and white. If you're using 3 colors, blue, white, and red, 4 colors, you have this color scheme, and 5 colors, you have this color scheme. And I think Ruben has put most of or at least this year, I've seen some of his images, and they all, we can mimic some of that, because they're all really, really good, and they stand out, and they kind of stick with what we've been posting all of 2021. On Word, if you're creating an image on Word, it's good to use the Georgia text. Now, that's the one that I've been using, and it's the one that I've used on this whole PowerPoint. You'll see Georgia. And on Canva, they don't have to do the Georgia text, so you have to use Kelvinch. It's the one that's similar to the Georgia text. But just in case you're thinking about, well, what kind of fonts should I use? And usually we go with these 2, and there might be exceptions to the rule, but just I guess just let one of the board members or somebody in communications know. Any questions on that? All right, I'm moving on. So then we have all these different platforms, and we have Instagram, we have Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, email, LinkedIn. But the focus has always been right now for Facebook and Instagram, because we get most of our reach from those 2. We actually do get quite a bit on LinkedIn, but it's very subtle. I mean, for events, for stuff that we're doing in the organization that'll impact the business, it seems like LinkedIn is very effective. So the mentorship program, that's something that we can target with LinkedIn. Email, our email open rate is actually really good. About 40% of people open up our emails, which is on average, you can probably say it should be around 30%. So 40% is really, really good. TikTok, we average about 200 viewers on English content. I think on Spanish content, we're actually averaging around 800 viewers, which is not bad, but that's something that we can work on. I'm thinking during the networking events, we do like little interviews for the members, or interviews for people just joining the networking event. We take some clips, and maybe that'll be a way for us to kind of promote TikTok later on in the future. But if you have any ideas, feel free to share and send them along. Twitter, I've been posting a few things, but not a lot. So that's something we'd have to develop a strategy later on for that. And with Facebook, I mean, as long as you guys keep commenting, liking, sharing, I think we'll always stay pretty relevant there. I mean, our reach is still, I think consistently, it's been over 9,000 a month. And we had, I think last month we were like at 22,000. So it's still fluctuating a lot, but I've noticed that the new member posts and when we're introducing committees, those get a pretty big reach. And a big part of it, I think, is because I tag the person and I'll tag their business. I'll try to include their LinkedIn, their Instagram profile. And since everybody's doing the, welcome, 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 it keeps popping up on someone else's page, and they just, it becomes like a little snowball. So they stay relevant for a really long time. So we'll figure out other things that kind of will do the similar thing. But we're thinking if you create some content, just send it to me and I'll compile a huge list of all the content that we can have throughout the year. Because that way, if we have one source, we're not looking for material, we'll grab it from this one source. And we could probably have one publisher and maybe rotate the publisher on a month-to-month basis or a quarterly basis, whatever makes sense. But that way, that one publisher has an idea of like, oh, okay, I can use this, I can use that, and figure out like where to post or when to post. But I can work with that publisher, or for now, I could probably be the publisher until we kind of assign that to somebody. And then I wanted to introduce Juanita. Well, I know people in this group already know her, but for the recording session, Juanita Lopez is the board member, and she's been a board member. You're coming up on a year already, right, Juanita, as a board member?
Yes.
Yeah, so she's coming up on a year, and she'll be the committee chair for the social media ambassadors. So sometimes you'll see Terrence post let's say there's a certain message that needs some promotion. He'll post it and we'll have everybody comment there. Juanita, part of her role is going to be to kind of do that. If there's a certain message that needs to be pushed, just let us know, Juanita. And I know she keeps a good eye on what's being created and what's being published. So if you see something that we need to push, Juanita, I mean, this is your committee, okay?
Okay.
And then we talk about the benefits for being a social media ambassador. And there's a few underlying ones, but the biggest one is, you have the ability to meet with other business owners, because a lot of the people that are interested in joining the organization, I promote social media ambassador first. And the reason that is because you want to see how they work with other people, and you kind of want to see where their interest is. Somebody that's excited about the organization will probably be commenting pretty frequently, and you can tell, you can kind of keep up. But the second part to that is that once you start seeing all the posts, or that we see that you're liking the comments, that you're sharing the material, you become acquainted on what's going on with the chamber, because that's where we're posting all of the updates. So if you've had a social media ambassador that's been doing stuff consistently for 6 or 7 months, and they know how to talk about the organization and they know what's going on, then it just makes sense that the social media ambassadors start going to different committees, and we'll have them there's so many different committees that we can create for different purposes, because you got to have somebody for mentorship, you got to have somebody for just educational events, and then the chamber covers 30 counties. So I'll kind of show this map. Hopefully you can see it. But we cover, this Hardeman, Ford, Cottle, all of this, Baylor, Archer, Young, Palo Pinto, Jack, Parker, Tarrant, Dallas, Kaufman, Hunt, Fanning, Navarro. We'll probably need a couple of committees for each county. Because if you're talking about being an organization that spans all of this, then you got to have events in every single county. And then all the committees have to find a way to like go back and communicate to the board what's going on. And then the board would have to communicate all the different approaches or like strategic direction back down to the committees and then down to the ambassadors. So it gets complicated once you start getting that big. But we're excited. Most of our events right now have probably been in Collin County. But I know there's going to be opportunity in Denton, Dallas, and Tarrant. So these are pretty big and pretty big opportunities here. And then the other thing too is that your participation doesn't go for granted, right? So at the end of the year, the whole point is that you participate, you get some kind of recognition, or you get some kind of exposure or visibility in the community, because I will promote this at every single event. It just makes sense because people come to our networking events, and this has happened to me before. They come to the networking events and they're like, hey, I do this, so if you need it, let me know. And then they'll give me their business card. But I don't want to be too upfront, but I'm like, if there's any kind of business that I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my ambassadors first, and I'm going to go to my to our membership, because that's what it's about. You become a member, and the whole point is to try to foster growth within our organization. So if you do business outside of members or outside of the chamber, and they're not members, and you feel like they would be a good value, or maybe we don't have that service in our membership, just bring them to the chamber, because that way you can have not just you sending them business, but then you have multiple people. You'll have, I think our membership, we're getting close to 100 people right now. I think we might have already passed it, but we're getting close to, our goal would be to 200, 300 people. Imagine you join an organization, you have 200, 300 business owners that know about your business. Then it kind of comes around full circle. And then we have more money for membership, and you could create more events. And that'll give people more opportunities. But that's why we're rewarding. When a person checks into our event, I'll keep track of it, and I'll start giving them 10 points for any member that checks into an event. If they bring a guest, then an additional 10 points. If we'll have ribbon cutting events throughout the year, if they show up to a ribbon cutting event, 20 points. We're going to need people to sponsor items at events. It could be something like you sponsor drinks, or you sponsor a cake or snacks or whatever the case is, then you'd get 30 points. And then if you're an ambassador, a social media ambassador or an event ambassador, and you're promoting the event, then you automatically get 30 points. And then at the end of the year, when we have our big gala and we're talking about giving recognition or awards to business owners that are impacting the community, then this is one way on how we're tracking that. We're saying to potentially a huge audience, right, at the gala, because you're going to have people from all over. And then you're telling them, yeah, this, we could say Kevin from Villa Lux Roofing has been to all of our events and always promoting our stuff. And, so that's why we're giving him an award for X, Y, and Z, for community involvement or network or chamber participation. There's a lot of different things, but I think as we get bigger, it's more important to promote engagement in the chamber than membership. So I'd rather have 100 members that are constantly coming to events and getting value from it than 300 members that never show up to stuff. Because it takes away from what we're doing. Like, the whole point is to try to develop people. Give them exposure, but you really want them to receive value from all the different stuff that we're promoting out there. And a quick little thing, and it's something that I think I'm going to promote a lot more this year, is that we're going to rely on our 4 core values a lot, because we want business owners to sign up, but you want business owners to have the same mindset, because that's what's going to keep us, that's what's going to give us a strong foundation. So the 4 core values that our organization represents, and stuff that we look in other people for leadership positions or for ambassadors or anything really to collaborate with us, is they have to have integrity. You can't have a business, a guy that comes into the chamber and wants to promote their business because they want to make a quick couple of sales, and then it's a service that's maybe ripping people off. So you don't want that. We want to avoid that as much as possible. Collaboration, so people that can collaborate with others. Our organization is going to be involved with other nonprofits, and it's going to be involved with collaborating with other institutions like Dallas College. And the reason that is because we're getting resources from everywhere, and we're trying to pull them in so that we can be the ultimate resource center for a business owner. And then you have education. All of our events, our networking events, should try to have a piece of education there somewhere. And it could be, and there's so many things, but there's so many different ways to plug in your business that way too. And it could be over financial services, it could be over insurance, it could be over roofing, even photography. How some quick tips on how to take a good selfie, or whatever the case is. But there should be a lot of education there, and we're looking for servant leaders. So some people will join the organization, the first thing they'll ask, well, what can the chamber do for me? And I was like, well, you get stuff for being a member. You get the exposure, you get the benefits, you get your introductions, through email, through social media. But the bigger concept about this is that you have a Hispanic population that works together to build something for future business owners or for other business owners that are just coming in. Because in Texas alone, we're the 4th largest economy in the world. And you're talking about North Texas, where maybe Hispanics are about 25% of the population. I'm thinking it's somewhere around there, 25%. We're a huge, huge chunk. And then out of the 25%, a big portion of our population starts businesses. So I think I saw somewhere on one of Trinidad's posts that we're over $1 trillion in purchasing power. Like, that's crazy. You have all of this money. We have to find ways or help business owners make sure that money just doesn't go to waste. Like, if we're a big purchasing power in Texas, we have to educate the community so that they're investing in the right things. And then that way it'll come back to, to the kids, to our kids, or to future generations. You can say, okay, well, if you're a business owner, you always go to the chamber. and the chamber will provide X, Y, and Z. And after they provide X, Y, and Z, you can see your growth, you know, substantially. Or some businesses, I think 50% of businesses fail their first year. I was like, we need to change that. We need to change that to where businesses are succeeding the first year, the second year, the third year, and it starts with finding the right people, you know, to put something like this together. So, but that's pretty much it. Any questions? I don't want to keep you guys here too long. Any thoughts?
Is the is all the members listed on Boardable?
No,
Like
we
all the
have,
members?
yeah, I'm building, so I have an Excel file that I'm building with all the members. And so here are the plans. I put all of the members on Facebook. And if they don't have a Facebook profile, I ask them, you know, would you be able to create one? Because then that way we can reach out to you and you can know what's going on. And then once they become members, I put them into the friends, our private group. But what I've been doing lately is I'm building an Excel file. I'm putting when their membership started, when their membership ended, their industry, where they're located, and contact information. And I'm going to use that list to create a, well, I'll work with Chris to create a, what is it called? Like a search function or like a directory for all of the businesses on our website. And then we'll have the directory to where, you know, if you need any kind of service, you can just go to the website and just search for the industry or what you're looking for. So hopefully we can get that done by, I'm thinking maybe October. We should get it done sooner, but at the latest, maybe October. But does that help, Ruben?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Oh, I almost forgot. So Juanita, I did kind of create this for us. So we have to present, let me stop sharing this one. We have to present information to the board every single month on how social media is doing and any kind of updates really. Just to make sure that we're always in the right track. We do have this file where we'll be keeping up with who created the content. So this will kind of just give like, right now we're I think at 9,000, like 9,800. I haven't checked Instagram, but I think we're definitely a lot higher than that. So this will be the monthly reach. And then say, for example, you have Ruben that created 5 posts on 3/13. And then you had Terrence create 3 videos. And then, I don't know, Jonathan created 1 video here. Joanna 2 videos here. If you go back to the dashboard and you just select refresh all, it'll give you an idea on who's creating the most content. And it'll give you kind of a graph, oh, 22% is being created by Ruben, 15% by Terrence. And then it'll give you an idea on how many we've done throughout the month. So let's say we have 27 posts. And then you can tell the board members what our reach is for the month. So 9,800 for Facebook, 600 for Instagram, because the thing we want to avoid is you don't want to have 50 posts one month and reach 7,000. Just an example. And like it's not effective. You know, we're posting a lot, but it's not very effective. It's better to have like 6 posts and be at 5,000, or 6 posts and be at, you know, 9,000, 10,000, whatever the case is. But we have to look at that because you don't want to post it has to be effective, you know, and this is, I guess, the easiest way to kind of keep track of that. But hopefully I'll send you a copy, Juanita. And that way you have like a little template on what to present to the board whenever you need to. And then I'll create the same thing for other committees. So whenever they're having to present to the board, they'll have information on and what needs to be tracked on a monthly basis. But does that make sense, Juanita?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. And if it stops working or something, just let me know and I'll fix it. But it's usually just putting the info there and just data refresh all.
Okay.
Oh, and a big goal for this year, before I forget. So I was looking at stats from other chambers, right? And we have 2,600 likes, but we just started this stuff really 2 years ago. The Urban Hispanic Chamber has had their page for, I don't know how many years. It had to be 5+. Fort Worth Chamber, same thing. Dallas Chamber has been around for 80 years, and they're only at 7,400. And then you have the Fort Worth Chamber, not the Hispanic, just the overall Fort Worth Chamber that's at 10,000. I think we can reach 10,000 by the end of the year, to be honest. A good thing that'll help you out is that, and this is something that's kind of been helping me with the Marcus Foundation thing, is I look for people on the people you may know, and I look for business owners, realtors, whatever the case is. I look for business owners and I add them as a friend. And then if they accept, I send them a message just to introduce myself. So I'll say, hey, my name is such and such. I do X, Y, and Z. You know, keep me in mind for if you need an estimate or anything like that. And then there's a few people that'll reach back out and say, well, you know what, you know, where you're located, or if they start like a conversation, then I send them a invitation to like the chamber page. And then once they like the chamber page, they start seeing our content more often. So then they'll start seeing the networking events, and you'll start bringing people to the chamber like that. I typically, I think my idea, and this is something that I think a lot of people should do, and you guys probably do it already, but build those relationships first, because I think it's important, and the networking events is the way to do it. If you just bring them onto a networking event, you know, you'll have time to talk for a little, you know, 5-10 minutes, whatever the case is. And now you're starting to foster something, as opposed to I'm just posting content and we'll see what lands. You know, you might turn that person from just seeing your content to being an active promoter for your business on a weekly or monthly basis, just because, you know, that you took the time to reach out, to try to get them involved, and to have those conversations with them. But if you guys don't mind, on your friends list, when you get a chance, just go to our page and just invite people to our to like the page, and they'll start seeing our content a little bit more. And I think by the end of this year, I think we'll get past 5,000. I know that, but you know, my goal is to try to get to 10. So hopefully we can get there. Y'all think we can do it? We could do it, right?
I think we can get pretty close.
Yeah. This was February. February 15,485, 127 on Instagram. This was early though. This is a little bit old. Most of our people are coming from Dallas, 17%. We have 7% from Gainesville. So I know Acela and Maria have probably been adding a lot of people to like our stuff. 6% from Fort Worth and 5.8% from Arlington. So it actually may be a good idea here to start having some networking events in Tarrant County, because I think we could have a pretty big showing. Then you have Grand Prairie, then you have Plano, Irving, Garland, Carrollton, and then right below that you have McKinney. And I'm hoping that after Cinco de Mayo, McKinney is closer here to the top because of the Cinco de Mayo event. So every post that I'm doing right now, the location that I'm putting is for the new members, I'm doing the location wherever they're located. But for all the Cinco de Mayo things, I'm just gonna be, it's gonna be either McKinney or Louisville, one of those two, because they're kind of close, and we'll probably get people coming from both of those places. And then we'll see if we can get McKinney and Louisville closer to 2-3%. That would be really good, and that would be a success story for us because we're being effective in promoting our stuff. The majority are women, 59.9%, and then we have about 40% men, and then 35. They're the biggest group or category is between the ages 35 and 44. We have a big, so something interesting, right? So we have women ages 35 and 44, and then the second group for women is ages 25 and 34. But for men, the second group is ages 45 through 54, which is I thought that was a little strange. But then I was like, well, if we have younger women, I don't know. I thought that was a little strange, but something to keep in mind when we're posting some stuff. Age and gender, yep. And that's pretty much it. I'll stop sharing here. But anyways, I kind of took a little longer than expected. But anything else, guys? You guys need any questions, any concerns, any ideas or thoughts?
I think it was a great meeting, very informative.
Informative. All right. Well, sounds good. Brenda, Kevin, Ruben, any closing thoughts?
No, not on my part. I mean, it looks good.
Okay.
I guess we have a goal to try to achieve by the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And this will help out everyone, because if we get to 10,000 likes on the page, and then you post one post on, Ruben's business or Brenda's business or Juanita's business, then you'll get a lot of exposure from that post just because we put work throughout the year. And I'm not opposed to having we can rotate that if you guys like too, or if the top and I'll leave that up to you, Juanita. If you feel like there's a social media ambassador that deserves to be on the page for the day, you just feel free to kind of put that, because we should have a day where we highlight a member or highlight one of the ambassadors, or maybe even highlight a board member. So whatever the case is, Juanita, it's up to you.
I think that's a good idea. Because I know
Yeah.
Wednesday, I don't know what we're doing on Wednesdays, but if it's like maybe doing it in the middle of the week would work.
Yeah, that would be really good. And I'm sure it'll get a lot of attention. Okay. Well, sounds good. Well, if there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and close out the session, and I will send out, I'll post this on YouTube actually, and I'll start a profile, and it'll say social media ambassadors training material, something like that. And that way the other social media ambassadors will get a chance to take a look at it, and then we'll start building out more stuff. Or if there's stuff that you want to contribute to and making like an educational video, feel free to send it to me, and we'll start posting that content, because we got to have a big library on YouTube. So hopefully we can get that started. Well, all right, guys. Well, hope you have a
Hey, hold on, I
great
have a
day.
question. So
Okay.
you were talking and I was like, send an invite, but it's not the members only, right? It's the Hispanic.
There's three, because we have three really. We have the North Texas Hispanic Entrepreneurs Group, and then we have
so that's the one I accidentally said. Which one do you want me to say?
yeah.
The
So
big, the
if you
major
go to
page,
the
right?
if you go to the page, So there's the official page, the chamber page, and then you have the two groups that we have. And it's not necessarily the two groups, but the page itself, because people, they go through steps. First, typically they see the page, and then Facebook will recommend them the group later on. So if they're like looking at our stuff through our page, they're gonna get the group, and then they might hit request to join the group. So then the idea is to filter the people that join the group to turn them into members and put them on the members only group. So you're doing like a little, like you're
Oh, see,
filtering.
I did the wrong one.
Okay.
Now I got a lot of people like. Okay. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm.
No worries, no worries. Yeah, that helps too. But yeah, the page, if you go to the main page, it'll say invite friends to like this
Oh
page.
yeah, I see. Yeah, I see it now. All right, thanks.
Yep. Yeah, no worries, no worries. All right. Any other questions before I close out? All right. Well, thank you guys for joining, and I hope you have a great Saturday.
Bye. See you guys.